Hello, my ACT friends, and welcome back to ACT FAQ, your one-stop shop for frequently asked questions about acceptance and commitment therapy. Today's question is, can I use ACT with children and adolescents? And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. And there's a few ways I think you can consider this. Firstly, there's a great model called DNAV by Dr. Louise Hayes. And the model helps young people develop psychological strength, so a slightly different term to psychological flexibility, but it's very similar, by developing their behavioural skills labelled as discoverer, noticer, advisor and values, so DNAV. And that DNAV metaphor covers processes of behaviour that every human does, such as how we think, how we move and how we act in the world, and it aims to improve our ability to flexibly shift behaviours to what the situation allows and demands to promote growth and build valued action. Move in a direction that is important and meaningful to us. How discovering things, noticing things, and our self-advice all connect to make life have value and vitality. You can take a fair few of your skills from your current ACT toolbox and adapt them for this model without too much problem. The books that use this model do offer some additional skills and exercises that are really helpful. And here in the UK, there's a whole PHSE curriculum based around this model called Connect PHSE. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you're on Facebook, then there's a great group called the Thriving Adolescent Group, which has about 2,000 members discussing their experience and how they are using DNAV. And again, I'll leave a link in the description to that Facebook group. And I also have a whole video that looks at the DNAV model. Another way is through the work of Dr. Tamar Black, who is the author of ACT for Treating Children, which is a book that's really helpful for working with 5 to 12-year-olds. Tamar came up with the KidFlex, a play on the Hexaflex. What I really like about the KidFlex is the plain and simple language that is used. So instead of acceptance, we have let it be. Instead of diffusion, we have let it go. Instead of present moment awareness, we have stay here. For self as context, we have notice yourself. For values, we have choose what matters. And for committed action, we have do what matters. And I really like this change from what can appear quite clinical terms to language that more describes what that process does. And these are terms that you could actually use with the person that you are working with, and personally I use this with adults too. And again, the book outlines some specific exercises and metaphors that can be used with children. There's some new ones there that I hadn't come across before, and some variations on exercises that you most likely have, they are just more developmentally appropriate. And for each process, the book also gives you suggestions about how to work with parents, which again is always really helpful when working with children. And finally, I had the pleasure of attending a workshop with Dr. Victoria Samuel and Dr. Chloe Constable called Interact. Interact stands for Interactive Training in Emotional Resilience with ACT. So this is a brief 3-lesson program aimed at secondary school children and adolescents with a solid evidence base that you can find on the website. Again, links in the description. So Interact consists of 3 workshops. The first one is called Thoughts Are Just Thoughts. So that's using experiential exercises to undermine the control agenda, i.e. that trying to control thoughts tends to be pretty counterproductive. It includes where thoughts came from and how they help us survive and how to get some distance or unhook from those thoughts so they can take valued action. And I'm sure you can identify lots of ACT processes in that workshop. Then there is Pause, Observe, Describe. So this is looking at, can we control what we feel? That the mind can look forward in time and back in time, and how to connect to the present moment. And the skill itself of pause, observe and describe. And the third workshop is Taking Steps Towards What Matters. And this is where students are given opportunities to think about what matters most to them in life. Identify their top personal values and what steps they can take to act in line with those qualities. So you can see that through those workshops, all of the ACT processes are targeted, and it's a really nice way to structure everything. The workshop I attended through Contextual Consulting was great. It was very skills heavy, but in a good way, meaning Victoria and Chloe demonstrated a lot of skills and how to do things in the room with the young person. So how to be experiential with the young person. So if you are working with children and adolescents, then definitely check out those ways of working. I don't have a favourite. I can honestly say I have taken something from each of them and incorporated it into my practice. And if you found value in this video, then please consider sharing and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Liking and subscribing is what helps the channel to continue providing free and accessible content. Thank you for watching. Make life meaningful. Goodbye.